Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into the misty hills of ancient China, where TS story begins like a whisper in a bamboo grove, long before it fueled empires or sparked revolutions. Picture yourself stumbling out a time machine, your sandals sinking into damp earth, the air thick with the scent of pine, wet moss, and something faintly herbal brewing nearby. This isn't tea or morning coffee run, it's the dawn of tea, where you might sip a bitter leaf broth and wonder why anyone bothered. Trust me, surviving a day in this tea-obsessed world would test your taste buds, and you'd probably spit out your first brew before you got the hype. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment below with your city and what time it is where you are. I love knowing who's joining me in this leafy adventure. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let us ease into tonight's journey together. You're standing in a lush valley in southern China, around 200 BCE during the Han Dynasty, where mist clings to rolling hills dotted with wild shrubs. The sun's barely up, painting the sky peach, and the air's alive with chirping birds and the distant clink of a farmer's hoe. You're surrounded by locals in hemp tunics, their hands stained green from picking leaves from scruffy plant Camellia sinensis, the tea bush, though they don't call it that yet. You're wearing a borrowed robe, already damp from a morning fog, and your sandals slip on a muddy path as you follow a woman, May, who's tossing leaves into a basket. She's humming softly, her fingers nimble, and you're curious about this tea she's gathering, a brew you've heard whispered as a medicine, a ritual, a mystery. You're starting to realize this valley-s not just a farm, it's the cradle of a drink that shaped the world, and you're right in its misty heart. You trail May to a small village, its bamboo huts nestled under towering pines, dodging a cart piled with firewood. The village buzzes quietly, women pound rice, men sharpen tools, kids chase a stray dog, and you smell something new, a sharp, earthy scent wafting from a clay pot over a fire. May's mother, Li, is boiling leaves, her face creased with focus, stirring a broth that looks more like soup than your morning Earl Grey. She offers you a wooden cup, its steam curling in the chill, and you take a cautious sip, wincing at the bitter kick. May laughs, saying it's good for the spirit, and you're struck by their reverence. This isn't tea, just a drink, it's a potion, a gift from the hills. You're tempted to ask for honey, but Li's already refilling your cup, and you're starting to get why T.S. Dawn feels sacred, even if your tongue's staging a revolt. Here's the mainstream history bit. Tea's origins in ancient China, likely dating back to the 3rd century BCE, are tied to the Han Dynasty, where it was first used as a medicinal brew before becoming a cultural staple. You're watching Li now, her pot simmering as she strains the leaves. Legend credits Emperor Shinon with discovering tea around 2737 BCE, when leaves fell into his boiling water, but historians peg its practical use later, in regions like Yunnan and Sichuan. Early tea was bitter, boiled with herbs or grains, and valued for health, digestion, focus, vitality before spreading through trade and rituals. By the Han, it was documented in texts, with farmers cultivating wild bushes for local use. You're thinking about May's basket, realizing these leaves weren't just plants but the seeds of a global obsession, and starting to respect anyone who drank this brew without gagging or demanding sugar. You're trying to blend in, but your grimace at the tea draws a chuckle from a passing farmer, who tosses you a dried plum, winking as he says it'll soften the bite. You pop it in, grateful for the sweet tang, and notice he's wearing a small jade pendant shaped like a leaf, maybe a nod to the tea harvest. That's when you stumble on our obscure trivia for the night. In some early Chinese villages, tea farmers wore leaf charms, jade, or would pendants carved as leaves to honor the tea plant, believing they brought bountiful harvests or protected against bad brews, a custom rarely recorded but found in archaeological digs. You're eyeing the farmer's pendant now, wondering if it's luck or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea was more than a drink, it was a talisman, woven into daily life. You're tempted to ask him about it, but May's waving you over to help sort leaves, and you stay focused, keeping the plum pit in your cheek. You're starting to feel the village-esque rhythm, a blend of labor and lore. You pass a stall where a man-s grinding dried leaves in a powder, his hands dusted green, muttering about a better batch for the local lord. You overhear two women gossiping about a failed tea trade apparently. A merchant-s leaves went moldy, costing him a season-s profit. It hits you TS not just sacred, it's serious business, with harvests, health, and hierarchies at stake, and even a bad boil could spark a feud. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was tea's early spread in China driven by medicinal use or cultural prestige? Some argue its health benefits energy. Digestion made it a staple, shared through trade and farms. Others say its ritual status, tied to elites and ceremonies, fueled its rise, turning it into a symbol of refinement. You're watching Lee's careful stir, wondering if she's healing or honoring and leaning toward medicine. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a Han text-s comma than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this village, you learn to dodge stray dogs, ignore the robe-s damp cling, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the plum pit to a kid, earning a grin, and refocus on May, who's teaching you to pick leaves only the youngest. She insists for the best brew. You're fumbling, your fingers slow, but her patience keeps you going, heart racing. You're starting to see why T.S. Dawn was so pivotal. It's not just a plant, but a story, binding villages, healers, and dreams in a bitter sip. You slip away from the sorting pile, the valley-s mist fading, and breathe, the Subura-s torchlight calling you back. T.S. journey-s just begun, but you're hooked on its leafy roots. You're back in the village lanes, the fire-s glow fading, the stars bright above the bamboo roofs. Your heart-s racing, Lee-s bitter broth etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman-s pounding rice by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about May's basket, the farmer-s charm, and all the villagers brewing tea's first sips. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another brew-s secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging carts without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the valley-s pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're drifting away from the misty valley-s tea harvest, the bitter tang of Lee's leaf broth still lingering on your tongue like a stubborn guest at a Subura tavern. Your robe-s damp from the fog, smudged with ochre from May's leaf sorting lesson, and your sandals are gritty with village mud, a reminder of dodging stray dogs and firewood carts. Your pocket-s a growing hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of T.S. ancient dawn. The air-s cool, laced with pine and the Arno-s faint ripple, and the farmer-s leaf charm, and May's nimble fingers linger in your mind, a glimpse of T.S. sacred roots. You're trudging toward a bamboo hut to rest, your legs heavy from traipsing through Han Dynasty hills, when you notice a trail winding up a forested slope where torchlight flickers and a low chant hums from a hidden monastery. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, pulls you closer, and you follow the path, ready to discover T.S. role in Buddhist rituals. Spoiler, it's more zen than a Subura sunrise, and you're about to learn why surviving a day in this meditative brew scene would test your patience more than a bitter sip. You climb the path, the forest dense with bamboo and cedar, the air thick with damp moss and a faint whiff of incense. The monastery emerges through the mist, its wooden roofs curved like dragon tails, lanterns casting golden pools on stone steps. You're surrounded by silence, broken only by crickets and the soft tread of monks in gray robes, their heads shaved, carrying clay bowls. You're out of place in your grubby robe, but you slip in behind a group of pilgrims, their murmurs low, hoping to blend as a curious wanderer. The courtyard-esque serene stone Buddhas draped in moss, a koi pond rippling under moonlight, and a monk stirring a pot over a brazier, its steam curling like a prayer. You're drawn to a meditation hall where a tea ritual is unfolding, and you're starting to realize this isn't tea, just a drink, it's a sacred act, and you're right in its tranquil heart. You edge into the hall, its wooden floor polished smooth, the air heavy with sandalwood and the earthy scent of brewing leaves. Monks sit cross-legged on straw mats, their eyes closed, as a senior monk, Master Wei, pours tea from a clay kettle into small cups, his movements slow, deliberate like a dance. You're offered a cup by a young monk, his smile gentle, and you take it, the ceramic warm in your hands. You sip, wincing at the familiar bitterness greener, sharper than Li-S broth, and notice the monks savoring each taste, their faces calm, focused. You overhear Wei explain that tea clears the mind, aiding meditation and spiritual clarity. You're struck by the ritual-esque grace, every pour, every sip is a moment of mindfulness, tying body to spirit. You're tempted to ask about the brew, but the hall-esque silence is heavy, and you stay quiet, heart racing, trying to mimic the monk's poise. Here's the mainstream history bit. During the Han and later Tang dynasties, from around 200 BCE to 900 CE, tea became integral to Chinese Buddhist rituals, valued for its ability to enhance focus and meditation, spreading through monasteries before reaching broader society. You're watching Master Wei now, his kettle steaming as he refills a cup. Monks adopted tea as a stimulant, countering drowsiness during long meditation sessions, and its cultivation thrived in temple gardens, especially in regions like Fujian. By the Tang, tea was documented in Buddhist texts, with monks refining preparation steeping, whisking to elevate its spiritual role. Rituals like this one, blending tea with mindfulness, shaped its cultural significance, paving the way for its secular spread. You're thinking about Wei as precise pour, realizing it's not just a drink, but a path to enlightenment, and starting to respect any monk who sipped this brew without fidgeting or dozing off. You're trying to stay still, but your legs ache from sitting cross-legged, and you shift, earning a soft glance from a young monk. He passes you a rice cake, its sweetness a relief against the tea's bite, and you notice a small wooden bead on his wrist, carved with a tea leaf pattern. That's when you stumble on our obscure trivia for the night. In some early Chinese monasteries, monks wore tea beads, wooden or bone charms etched with leaves as meditation aids, believed to channel tea's clarity, often traded among temples to spread cultivation secrets. You're eyeing the monk's bead now, wondering if it's a focus tool or just decor, and it's a quirky peek into how tea wove in a Buddhist life, a talisman as much as a brew. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Wei's pouring another round, and you focus on your cup, keeping your wince discreet. You're starting to feel the hall's calm, a contrast to the valley's bustle. You overhear a pilgrim whisper about a monk who saw visions after too much tea, sparking chuckles among the novices. You catch a faint smile from Wei, and it hits you humor sneaks into even this sacred space, lightening the ritual-esque weight. You think of the village tea gossip, like the moldy batch that cost a merchant his profit, and realize these monks aren't tea so different, sharing tales over their brews. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was tea's role in Buddhist rituals primarily spiritual or practical in its early adoption? Some argue its meditative benefits, focus, clarity made it a spiritual cornerstone, aligning with Buddhist ideals. Others say its practical use, keeping monks awake, drove its spread, with spirituality as a later gloss. You're watching Wei's steady hand, wondering if he's seeking nirvana or just staying alert and leaning toward practical. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a sutra-esque phrasing than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this ritual, you learn to sip slowly, ignore your numb legs, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the rice cake-esque wrapper to a novice, earning a nod, and refocus on Wei, who's teaching the pilgrims to taste the moment. You're fumbling, your sip's too quick, but his patience keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why tea's sacred role was so pivotal. It's not just a brew, but a bridge, linking monks, minds, and mountains in a mindful sip. You slip out of the hall, the monastery's chants fading, and breathe, the Subura's torchlight calling you back. Tea's journey's growing, but you're hooked on its holy roots. You're back in the village lanes, the monastery's glow fading, the stars bright above the bamboo roofs. Your heart's racing, Wei's teacup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman's grinding rice by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the monk's bead, May's leaves, and all the souls brewing tea's early sips. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another ritual's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging silence without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the valley's pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping down the forested slope from the monastery, the serene hum of Master Wei's tea ritual still lingering in your ears like a soft chant over a steaming cup. Your robe's damp from the misty trail, smudged with ochre from sorting leaves in the valley, and your sandals are gritty with temple dust, a reminder of dodging stray pebbles and novice monks. Your pocket's a growing hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's sacred dawn. The air's crisp, laced with cedar and the Arno's faint ripple, and the monk's tea bead and Wei's mindful pour linger in your mind, a glimpse of tea's spiritual roots. You're trudging back toward the village, craving a bamboo mat to rest, when you hear a lively clamor from a nearby town, where lanterns glow and voices shout about tea and tales. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, pulls you toward the noise, and you follow a cart track to the bustling streets of a Tang dynasty town. Welcome to the vibrant world of Tang teahouses, where tea flows like gossip, and you're about to visit a hub of chatter and brews. Spoiler, it's rowdier than a Subura tavern, and surviving a day in this tea-soaked scene would test your social game more than a monk's meditation. You step into the town, around 800 CE. Its streets a chaotic maze of cobblestones and timber shops, the air thick with roasted chestnuts, sesame oil, and the sharp, grassy scent of brewing tea. The sun's high, casting golden light on silk banners fluttering over stalls, and the bustle hits you merchants hawk bolts of cloth, porters haul rice sacks, and a street performer juggles oranges for coins. You're surrounded by Tang folk in flowing robes, their hair pinned with jade, and you're wearing a borrowed silk tunic, already sticking to your skin in the heat. You weave through the crowd, dodging a donkey cart piled with pottery, and find yourself outside a tea house, its wooden sign painted with a steaming cup, laughter and clinking bowls spilling from the open door. You're curious about this tea hub where locals gossip, deal, and sip, and you're starting to realize this isn't just a tavern, it's the heart of Tang tea culture, and you're right in its steamy pulse. You slip inside, the tea house a dim, smoky haven of low tables and straw mats, the air heavy with tea's earthy tang and a hint of ginger. Patrons pack the space, scholars scribbling on bamboo slips, traders arguing over silk prices, women fanning themselves with painted screens. You spot a server, a wiry man named Liang, pouring tea from a clay kettle into chipped bowls, his grin wide as he banters with a poet about bitter brews and bitter loves. You're offered a seat by a merchantess wife, Mei Ling, who hands you a bowl of frothy green tea, its surface swirled from whisking. You sip, the taste smoother than the monastery's brew, but still sharp, and you're struck by the tea house as energy every sip fuels a story, a deal, or a laugh. You're tempted to join the poetess rant, but Liang's already refilling your bowl, and you focus on keeping up, heart racing, wondering how this rowdy spot became tea's social stage. Here's the mainstream history bit. During the Tang Dynasty's 1807 CE, Teahouses emerged as vibrant social hubs in China, transforming tea from medicinal or ritual drink into a cultural phenomenon that spread across classes and regions. You're watching Liang now, his kettle steaming as he served a trader. The Tang era saw tea's popularity soar, with Liu S the classic of TC 760C codifying its preparation, steaming, grinding, whisking, and etiquette, making tea houses urban hotspots. These venues, from city markets to roadside inns, hosted scholars, merchants, and poets, fostering trade, gossip, and ideas. Tea was boiled or whisked, often with salt or spices, and served in communal bowls, binding patrons in shared sips. You're thinking about Mei Ling's frothy bowl, realizing it's not just a drink, but a spark of Tang society, and starting to respect anyone who navigated these hubs without spilling tea or starting a brawl. You're trying to blend in, but your clumsy sip draws a chuckle from Mei Ling, who tosses you a sesame seed cake, saying it LL tame the brews bite. You nibble the sweet crunch, grateful, and notice she's wearing a small bronze hairpin shaped like a tea leaf, maybe a nod to the trade. That's when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Tang tea houses, patrons wore tea pins, bronze or silver hairpins etched with leaves or kettles as status symbols, signaling wealth or tea savvy, often gifted by owners to loyal customers or swapped in deals. You're eyeing Mei Ling's pin now, wondering if it's a badge or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a social flex, turning sips into swagger in a crowded room. You're tempted to ask her about it, but a trader's loud bet about a tea shipment drowns you out, and you focus on your bowl, keeping your wince discreet. You're starting to feel the tea house-esque vibe, a chaotic blend of chatter and commerce. You overhear a scholar complain about a sour batch that ruined his poem-esque muse, sparking laughs from a group of porters. You catch Liang's sly grin as he refills their bowls, and it hits you humor-esque the tea house-esque lifeblood, softening the edge of deals and disputes, much like the valley-esque gossip or the monastery-esque chuckles. You think of the town-esque bustle, like the juggler-esque oranges that nearly hit a monk, and realize these hubs are Tang China-esque pulse, where tea fuels tales as much as trade. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Were Tang tea houses primarily social spaces or economic engines? Some argue they were cultural havens, uniting classes through shared sips and stories, fostering Tang's creative boom. Others say they were trade hubs, driving TS spread through deals and networks, with socializing as a byproduct. You're watching Liang's quick pour, wondering if he's bonding or bartering, and leaning towards social. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They'd rather argue over Liu's page count than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of his tea house, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore the matte-esque straw prickle, and keep your bowl steady to avoid spills. You pass the cake-esque crumbs to a kid, earning a nod, and refocus on Mei Ling, who's teaching you to swirl the tea for better froth. You're fumbling, your swirl sloppy, but her laughter keeps you going, heart racing. You're starting to see why tea houses were so pivotal. They're not just taverns, but theaters, staging Tang life in every sip and quip. You slip out of the tea house, the town-esque clamor fading, and breathe, the Subura-esque torchlight calling you back. TS journey-esque steaming ahead, but you're hooked on its rowdy roots. You're back in the town-esque lanes, the tea house-esque glow fading, the stars bright above the timber roofs. Your heart-esque racing, Mei Ling's tea pin glinting in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a stall where a man-esque grinding spices by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about Liang's banter, the scholar-esque quip, and all the Tang folk brewing TS social sips. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another hub-esque secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging traders without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the town-esque pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping out of the Tang tea house, The lively clamor of Liang's banter and Mei Ling's frothy tea still buzzing in your ears like a marketplace deal sealed with a laugh. Your silk tunic's sticky with tea house steam, smudged with ochre from valley leaves, and your sandals are gritty with town dust, a reminder of dodging traders and orange juggling performers. Your pocket's a growing hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of T's vibrant roots. The air's cool, laced with sesame and the Arno's faint ripple. And Mei Ling's tea pin and the scholar's quip about sour brews linger in your mind, a glimpse of T's social spark. You're trudging toward a rented room's creaky cot, your legs heavy from swirling tea bowls, when you overhear a merchant by the town gate, boasting about a tea caravan heading west along the Silk Road. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, pulls you closer, and you barter a sesame cake crumb for a spot on his camel train, hopping aboard as it lumbers toward distant lands. Welcome to the Silk Road, where tea sips its way through trade routes, and you're about to follow its dusty trail. Spoiler, it's bumpier than a Subura cart ride, and surviving a day in this caravan chaos would test your grit more than a Tang tea house brawl. You sway atop a camel, its hump creaking under a load of tea bricks, the desert stretching endless under a blazing sun. Around 850 C, the air smells of dry earth, camel sweat, and the faint grassy tang of packed tea, and the caravan's 8 jumbled line merchants in turbaned robes, porters hauling silk bales, and guards with curved swords scanning for bandits. You're surrounded by traders from Chang and to Samarkand. Their voice is a mix of Tang Chinese, Sogdian, and something you can't place, haggling over spices, jade, and those tea bricks stacked like treasure. You're wearing a borrowed cloak, already dusted with sand, and your sandals chafe as you grip the camel's reins, dodging a stray goat that wandered into the train. You're curious about this tea trade fueling the Silk Road, a network of trails linking China to distant empires, and you're starting to realize this isn't just commerce, it's T's first global leap, and you're right in its dusty wake. You reach a caravan stop, a mud brick oasis with a well and a cluster of tents, the air cooling as the sun dips low. You dismount, your legs wobbling like a Subura drunk, and follow a Sogdian merchant, Baram, to a fireside where he's unpacking a tea brick compressed leaves stamped with a dragon seal. He chips off a chunk, boiling it in a bronze pot with salt and yak butter, offering you a clay cup of the murky brew. You sip, grimacing at the oily, salty bite, far from a Ling's frothy bowl, and Baram laughs, saying it keeps the soul warm. You're struck by the T's transformation here. It's not a Tang ritual, but a trader's lifeline, fueling long treks across deserts. You're tempted to ask for a plain brew, but a guard is shouting about a delayed camel, and you focus on the cup, heart racing, wondering how T's making this leap from China's hills to distant bazaars. Here's the mainstream history bit. During the Tang Dynasty 6, 18907 C, tea spread along the Silk Road, a vast trade network connecting China to Central Asia, Persia, and beyond, becoming a valued commodity for merchants and nomads by the 8th century. You're watching Baram now, his pot simmering as he stirs the brew. Tea bricks, compressed for easy transport, were traded alongside silk, spices, and horses, reaching markets in Tibet, Mongolia, and Sogdian cities like Samarkand. Merchants boiled tea with additives salt, butter, or milk, adapting it to local tastes, making it a staple for nomads who prized its warmth and energy on harsh treks. The Silk Road as cultural exchange, documented in Tang records and archaeological finds, carried T's fame westward, setting the stage for its global rise. You're thinking about Baram's brick, realizing it's not just a product but a passport, crossing empires in a camel's pack, and starting to respect any trader who hauled this brew without bandits or blisters stealing their share. You're trying to blend in, but your wince at the buttery tea draws a grin from a porter who tosses you a dried apricot, saying it LL cut the grease. You chew the tart fruit, grateful, and notice he's wearing a small leather pouch tied with a tea leaf knot, maybe a merchant S charm. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. On the Silk Road, some traders carry tea pouches, leather or cloth bags tied with leaf-shaped knots to store tea samples or charms, believed to ward off bandits or ensure safe trades. A custom found in caravan relics, but rarely in texts. You're eyeing the Porter S pouch now, wondering if it's luck or just storage, and it's a quirky peek into how tea was more than cargo, it was a talisman, guarding traders through dusty trails. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Bahram S haggling with a Tibetan trader over a tea brick S weight, and you stay focused, keeping the apricot pit in your cheek. You're starting to feel the Oasis S rhythm, a gritty blend of trade and survival. You overhear a merchant complain about a crumbled brick that lost him a deal in Kashgar, sparking chuckles from the guards. You catch Bahram S sly wink as he offers the Tibetan a free sip, and it hits you humor S the caravan S glue, easing tensions over bad trades or bandit scares, much like the tea house S quips or the monastery S smiles. You think of the town S juggler, nearly beaning a monk, and realize these traders aren't tea so different, sharing laughs over their brews to lighten the trail S load. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was TS spread along the Silk Road driven by economic demand or cultural exchange? Some argue its value as a trade good portable. Durable fueled its westward journey, with merchants chasing profit. Others say its cultural appeal shared sips, new brews drove its spread, as nomads and traders adopted it for warmth and ritual. You're watching Bahram S deal, wondering if he is selling tea or stories, and leaning toward exchange. But good luck getting scholars to agree they'd rather argue over a caravan S route than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this caravan, sort of. You learn to grip the camel S reins, ignore the cloak S sandwich, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the pit to a kid herding goats, earning a nod, and refocus on Bahram, who is teaching you to chip tea brick small flakes he insists for a strong boil. You're fumbling, your chip's too chunky, but his patience keeps you going, heart racing. You're starting to see why the Silk Road was TS lifeline. It's not just a route, but a stage, carrying China S brew to new worlds in every dusty sip. You slip away from the fireside, the Oasis S glow fading, and breathe, the Subura S torchlight calling you back. TS Journey S rolling on, but you're hooked on its traded routes. You're back in the village lanes, the caravan S dust fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart S racing, Bahram ST brick etched in your mind. The amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman S weaving by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the Porter S pouch, Mei Ling S pin, and all the traders sipping TS first brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another trade S secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging bandits without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the desert S pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're swaying away from the Silk Road S dusty oasis, the oily tang of Bahram S buttery tea still coating your tongue like a stubborn guest from a Subura tavern. Your cloak S gritty with desert sand, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your sandals are worn thin from camelback treks, a reminder of dodging bandits and crumbling tea bricks. Your pocket S, a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of TS traded roots. The air S cool, laced with dry earth and the Arno S faint echo, and the Porter ST pouch and Bahram S sly deal making linger in your mind, a glimpse of TS caravan fueled spread. You're trudging toward a Trader S tent to rest, your legs heavy from the Silk Road S grind, when you overhear a Sogdian merchant boasting about a tea ritual in Japan, where monks sip with precision. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark flares up, and you barter a dried apricot for passage on a ship to the Japanese coast, hopping aboard as it sails east. Welcome to Japan, tea ceremony, a refined ritual of grace and green brews, and you're about to experience its meditative magic. Spoiler: it's calmer than a Subura sunrise, and surviving a day in this serene scene would test your poise more than a camel's hump. You step onto a pebbled shore in Japan, around 850 CE, during the Heian period, where misty hills rise under a pale sky, dotted with cherry blossoms and wooden shrines. The air smells of sea salt, pine, and a faint herbal note wafting from a nearby temple, and the village hums softly. Fishermen mend nets, women weave straw mats, and a bell tolls from pagoda. You're surrounded by locals in layered robes, their hair tied with silk, and you're wearing a borrowed kimono, its folds heavy and unfamiliar, tripping you as you follow a path to a Zen temple. You're curious about this tea ceremony the merchant described, a ritual that's turning Tang's frothy brews into something sacred, and you're starting to realize this isn't tea, just a drink, it's an art form, and you're right in its tranquil heart. You slip into the temple's garden, its raked gravel and mossy stones a study and calm, blending with monks in gray robes and pilgrims clutching prayer beads. The air is thick with cedar incense and the earthy scent of steamed tea leaves, and you're led to a small tea house, its paper screens glowing softly in the morning light. Inside, a monk named Ryokan kneels by a brazier, whisking green powder matcha into a frothy brew in a ceramic bowl. You're offered a mat, the straw cool under your knees, and you sit, mimicking the pilgrim's bowed posture, heart pounding as Ryokan hands you a bowl, its warmth seeping into your palms. You sip, the matcha's grassy bite smoother than Baram's brew, but sharp enough to jolt you, and you're struck by the ceremony's precision. Every whisk, every bow, a dance of mindfulness. You're tempted to slurp, but Ryokan's serene gaze keeps you slow, and you're starting to get why this ritual is so refined. It's not just tea, it's a moment of eternity. Here's the mainstream history bit. Tea reached Japan from China in the 9th century, during the Heian period, introduced by Buddhist monks like Seicho and Kukai, who brought seeds and rituals that evolved into the Japanese tea ceremony, or shinoyu, by the 12th century. You're watching Ryokan now, his whisk a blur as he prepares another bowl. Initially a monastic practice, tea aided meditation, with monks cultivating plants in temple gardens. By the Tang's influence, Japanese elites adopted tea, but Zen monks refined it into a ceremony, emphasizing simplicity, harmony, and mindfulness, as later formalized by masters like Sun no Rikyu. Matcha, ground from shade-grown leaves, became the ceremony's heart, served in choreographed rituals that spread to samurai and nobles. You're thinking about Ryokan's bowl, realizing it's not just a drink, but a philosophy, and starting to respect any monk who mastered this without spilling matcha or losing their zen. You're trying to stay poised, but your knees ache from kneeling, and you shift, earning a gentle nod from a novice monk, who passes you a sweet rice dumpling to balance the TS bite. You nibble the chewy mochi, grateful, and notice his sleeve embroidered with a faint leaf pattern, maybe a temple mark. That's when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some early Japanese temples, monks wore tea stitches, subtle leaf or bowl designs sewn into robes as symbols of their tea mastery, often gifted to novices who perfected the ceremony, a quiet badge of skill rarely noted in records, but found in textile fragments. You're eyeing the novice's sleeve now, wondering if it's a stitch or just decor, and it's a quirky peek into how TS rituals were worn as well as sipped, a mark of pride and a humble act. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Ryokan's serving another round, and you focus on your bowl, keeping your wobble discreet. You're starting to feel the tea house's calm, a stark contrast to the Silk Road's dust or Tang's rowdy hubs. You overhear a pilgrim whisper about a monk who found satori in a tea sip, sparking soft chuckles among the novices. You catch Ryokan's faint smile, and it hits you humor sneaks into even this refined space, lightening the ceremony's weight, much like the tea house's quips or the caravan's winks. You think of the town's juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these rituals share a human spark, where tea fuels both focus and fleeting laughs. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was the Japanese tea ceremony's development driven by spiritual discipline or cultural adaptation from China? Some argue its Zen roots mindfulness. Simplicity made it a spiritual practice, distinct from Tang's social sips. Others say it adapted China's tea culture, blending local aesthetics with borrowed brews, shaped by Japan's elite. You're watching Ryokan's whisk, wondering if he's meditating or mimicking and leaning toward discipline. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a bowl-esque glaze than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this ceremony, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore your numb knees, and keep your bowl steady to avoid spills. You pass the machi-esque wrapper to a novice, earning a nod, and refocus on Ryokan, who's teaching the pilgrims to honor the tea. You're fumbling, your bow's clumsy, but his patience keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why the tea ceremony was so pivotal. It's not just a ritual, but a mirror reflecting Japan's soul in every frothy sip. You slip out of the tea house, the temple's chants fading, and breathe, the Subura's torchlight calling you back. Tea's journey's blooming, but you're hooked on its refined roots. You're back in the village lanes, the tea house's glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Ryokan's matcha bowl etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a shrine where a monk's sweeping by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the novice's stitch, Mei Ling's pin, and all the souls sipping tea's early brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another ritual's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging silence without spilling matcha or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the village's pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping out of the Japanese tea house, the serene grace of Ryokan's matcha ritual still settling in your mind like a soft breeze over a Zen garden. Your kimono's heavy with temple dew, smudged with ochre from Tang tea houses, and your sandals are worn thin from Silk Road treks, a reminder of dodging caravans and whisking frothy bowls. Your pocket's a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's refined roots. The air's cool, laced with cedar and the Arno's faint echo, and the novice's tea stitch and Ryokan's mindful bow linger, a glimpse of tea's spiritual elegance. You're trudging toward a village in straw mat, your knees aching from kneeling in the tea house, when you overhear a trader by the shore boasting about a tea trek through Mongol lands where nomads guzzle brews on horseback. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a machi wrapper for passage on a ship back to the mainland, hopping aboard as it sails toward Mongol territory. Welcome to the Mongol Empire, where tea trudges through vast steppes, and you're about to track its rugged journey. Spoiler, it's wilder than a Subura brawl, and surviving a day in this nomadic tea scene would test your stamina more than a Japanese bow. You step onto a windswept steppe in the Mongol Empire around 1250 CE, where grasslands stretch endless under a sky bruised with clouds, dotted with felt yurts and grazing horses. The air smells of damp wool, roasted mutton, and a smoky, herbal tang wafting from a nearby fire, and the camp hums with life warriors' sharpened blades. Women milk mares, and kids wrestle in the dust. You're surrounded by Mongols in fur-lined coats. Their belts hum with knives, and you're wearing a borrowed wool robe, already itching in the chill wind, your sandals swapped for felt boots that squelch on muddy grass. You follow a herder, teamer, to a yurt where a woman, Alten, is boiling tea in a blackened pot, and you're curious about this tea trek that's carrying Tang bricks to the Empire's edges. You're starting to realize this isn't tea, just a drink, it's a nomad-esque fuel. And you're right in its smoky heart. You duck into the yurt, its felt walls hung with woven rugs, the air thick with smoke and the earthy scent of tea mixed with mare-esque milk. Alton kneels by the fire, crumbling a tea brick into the pot, stirring in salt and butter, her hands steady despite the wind howling outside. You're offered a wooden bowl, its warmth a relief in the cold, and you sip, grimacing at the salty, creamy brew thicker than Bahram-esque caravan mix, like drinking a stew. Timur laughs, saying it keeps the bone strong, and you're struck by the TS role here, not a Tang ritual or Japanese art, but a lifeline for warriors and herders braving the steppe bite. You're tempted to ask for a plain brew, but Alton-esque already refilling your bowl, and you focus on swallowing, heart racing, wondering how TS trudging through this vast empire of hooves and conquest. Here-s the mainstream history bit. During the Mongol Empire 1206-1368 CE, tea became a staple across its vast territories, spreading from China via trade and conquest, valued by nomads for its warmth and sustenance on the steppes, particularly in the 13th century. You're watching Alton now, her pot simmering as she adds more butter. The Mongols, unified under Genghis Khan and his successors, adopted tea bricks from Tang, China, trading them along Silk Road routes and incorporating them into diets heavy on meat and dairy. Boiled with milk, butter, or salt, tea provided energy and hydration, ideal for nomadic life, and was documented in Yuan dynasty records as a trade good and tribute item. Its spread through Mongol lands stretching from China to Persia helped cement TS global reach, carried by caravans and conquests. You're thinking about Timur-esque bowl, realizing it's not just a drink, but a survival tool, and starting to respect any herder who sipped this brew without wincing or spilling it on a galloping horse. You're trying to blend in, but your grimace at the milky tea draws a chuckle from a warrior who tosses you a strip of dried mutton, saying it LL chase the taste. You chew the tough meat, grateful, and notice he's wearing a small bone charm shaped like a tea brick, tied to his belt. That's when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Mongol camps, herders and traders carried brick charms bone or with pendants carved as tea bricks to honor the drink-esque strength, believed to protect against hunger or harsh winters, a custom found in steppe artifacts, but rarely in chronicles. You're eyeing the warrior-esque charm now, wondering if it's luck or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea was more than sustenance, it was a talisman, woven into nomadic life. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Alton-esque serving another round, and you focus on your bowl, keeping your cough discreet. You're starting to feel the yurt-esque rhythm, a gritty blend of survival and camaraderie. You overhear a trader complain about a cracked brick that soured a deal in Karakoram, sparking laughs from the herders. You catch Timur-esque sly grin as he shares a tale of a merchant outwitted by a bandit over tea, and it hits you humor-esque the camp-esque fire, warming the steppe-esque chill, much like the teahouses quips or the tea ceremony-esque smiles. You think of the Silk Road-esque juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these nomads share the same spark, their brews fueling both tales and treks. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was TS adoption in the Mongol Empire driven by practical necessity or its role as a trade commodity? Some argue its utility warmth. Nutrition made it essential for nomads, integrated into daily life for survival. Others say its value as a trade good, prized in markets from China to Persia, fueled its spread, with Mongols leveraging it for profit and diplomacy. You're watching Alton-esque steady stir, wondering if she's brewing for strength or status, and leaning toward necessity. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They'd rather argue over a Yuan ledger ink than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this camp, you learn to sip slowly, ignore the robe-esque will itch, and keep your bowl steady to avoid spills. You pass the mutton-esque gristle to a kid herding goats, earning a nod, and refocus on Alton, who is teaching you to crumble tea bricks small chunks, she insists, for a thick brew. You're fumbling, your flakes too powdery, but her laughter keeps you going, heart racing. You're starting to see why the Mongol trek was TS rugged path. It's not just a drink, but a bond, tying herders, warriors, and empires in every smoky sip. You slip out of the yurt, the camp-esque firelight fading, and breathe, the Subura's torchlight calling you back. TS journey's charging on, but you're hooked on its nomadic roots. You're back in the village lanes, the steppes glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Alton st bowl etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman's mending a cloak by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about Timur's charm, Mei Ling's pin, and all the souls sipping tea's early brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another trek's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging wind without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the steps pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're drifting away from the Mongol yurt's smoky warmth, the salty, buttery heft of Alton st, still sitting in your stomach like a hearty Subura stew. Your wool robe's prickly with steppe grass, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your felt boots are damp with yurt mud, a reminder of dodging galloping herders and crumbling tea bricks. Your pocket's a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's nomadic trek. The air's cool, laced with mutton and the Arno's faint echo, and Timur's brick charm and Alton's steady stir linger in your mind, a glimpse of tea's rugged steppe life. You're trudging toward a herder's tent to rest, your legs heavy from the Mongol camp's bustle, when you overhear a trader by the fire, boasting about tea caravans bound for Persian markets, where bazaars hum with spice and silk. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a mutton strip for a spot on his camel train, hopping aboard as it lumbers west. Welcome to the Persian Empire, where tea joins the caravan to vibrant markets, and you're about to track its journey through bazaar buzz. Spoiler, it's spicier than a Subura market brawl, and surviving a day in this trading frenzy would test your haggling skills more than a Mongol gallop. You sway atop a camel, its load creaking with tea bricks and saffron sacks, the desert giving way to a fertile valley under a golden sun, around 1270 CE, in the Ilkhanate era of Persia. The air smells of dust, rosewater, and a faint grassy whiff from the tea bales, and the caravan's vibrant thread merchants in embroidered robes, porters hauling carpets, and guards with scimitars scanning for raiders. You're surrounded by traders from Samarkand to Tabriz, their voices a mix of Persian, Arabic, and Mongol, bartering over pistachios, turquoise, and those tea bricks stacked like gold. You're wearing a borrowed turban and robe, already sweat-soaked, your sandals swapped for leather slippers that pinch as you grip the camel's reins, dodging a stray donkey nibbling a bale. You're curious about this tea trade lighting up Persian bazaars, a hub where Silk Road goods meet Middle Eastern flair, and you're starting to realize this isn't just commerce, it's TS spicy leap into new lands, and you're right in its bustling trail. You reach a sprawling bazaar in Tabriz, its stone arches shaded with awnings, the air cooling as dusk paints the sky crimson. You dismount, your legs wobbling like a Subura drunk, and follow a Persian merchant, Farhad, to a market stall where he is unpacking tea bricks stamped with Tang dragons, but dusted with desert grit. He grinds a chunk into powder, boiling it in a brass pot with cardamom and honey, offering you a tiny glass cup, its steam curling sweetly. You sip, the brew smoother than Alton's milky mix, spiced with a warm kick that wakes your senses, and Farhad grins, saying it fires the heart. You're struck by tea's transformation here. It's not a nomad's fuel, but a bazaar delight, blending Tang roots with Persian zest. You're tempted to ask for seconds, but a shout about a late caravan distracts Farhad, and you focus on the glass, heart racing, wondering how tea's weaving into this vibrant market-esque tapestry. Here's the mainstream history bit. By the 13th century, tea reached Persian markets through the Mongol-controlled Silk Road, becoming a prized commodity in the Ilkhanate 1256-1335 CE, where it was adapted to local tastes and traded alongside spices, textiles, and gems. You're watching Farhad now, his pot simmering as he adds more cardamom. Tea bricks, carried from China via Mongol caravans, were ground or boiled with additives honey, spices, or milk in Persian bazaars, appealing to merchants, nomads, and elites. Documented in trade records and travelogues, like those of Marco Polo, tea's value grew in cities like Tabriz and Isfahan, where it fueled social gatherings and trade deals. It spread through Persia, a cultural crossroads, helped bridge East and West, paving the way for tea's broader Middle Eastern adoption. You're thinking about Farhad as glass cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a cultural fusion, and starting to respect any trader who sold this brew without bandits or bad honey stealing their profit. You're trying to blend in, but your clumsy sip draws a chuckle from a spice vendor who tosses you a dried fig, saying it LL sweeten the TS sting. You chew the sticky fruit, grateful, and notice she's wearing a small silver pendant shaped like a teapot, maybe a market charm. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Persian bazaars, traders wore tea trinkets, silver or copper pendants shaped as teapots or cups as talismans for prosperous deals, believed to draw buyers or protect against spoiled goods, a custom found in market relics, but rarely in texts. You're eyeing the vendor's pendant now, wondering if it's luck or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a bazaar badge, turning sips into status in a crowded stall. You're tempted to ask her about it, but Farhad's haggling with the Sogdian over a tea brick's price, and you focus on your glass, keeping your cough discreet. You're starting to feel the bazaar's pulse, a spicy blend of trade and tales. You overhear a merchant complain about a moldy brick that cost him a carpet deal, sparking laughs from porters. You catch Farhad's sly wink as he offers the Sogdian a free sip, and it hits you humor-s the market-s oil, smoothing disputes over bad goods or bandit scares, much like the Mongol camp-s jests or Tang teahouse quips. You think of the Silk Road-s juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spark, their brews fueling both deals and giggles. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was TS spread in Persian markets driven by its luxury status or its everyday utility? Some argue its prestige exotic, costly made it a status symbol for elites, traded like silk or saffron. Others say its versatility spiced, sweetened, or plain made it a daily staple for merchants and nomads, spreading through practical use. You're watching Farhad's spiced brew, wondering if he's selling glamour or comfort and leaning toward utility. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They'd rather argue over a bazaar's ledger than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this bazaar, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore the robe's sweat-soaked cling, and keep your glass steady to avoid spills. You pass the fig-s pit to a kid selling almonds, earning a nod, and refocus on Farhad, who is teaching you to grind tea fine powder. He insists for a smooth boil. You're fumbling, your grind too coarse, but his laughter keeps you going, heart racing. You're starting to see why Persian caravans were TS vibrant path. They're not just markets, but melting pots, blending China-s leaves with Middle Eastern spice in every fragrant sip. You slip away from the stall, the bazaar-s torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura-s glow calling you back. TS journey-s brewing on, but you're hooked on its spiced roots. You're back in the village lanes, the bazaar-s glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart-s racing, Farhad's glass cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman-s weaving by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the vendor-s trinket, Alton-s brick, and all the souls sipping tea-s traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another market-s secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging hagglers without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the valley-s pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're drifting away from the bustling Tabriz bazaar. The warm spice of Farhad's cardamom tea still tingling on your tongue, like a Persian market's closing deal. Your robe's sweat soaked from desert heat, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your leather slippers pinch from dodging camel hooves, a reminder of haggling over tea bricks and sidestepping donkeys. Your pocket's a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's spice journey. The air's cool, laced with rosewater and the Arno's faint echo, and the vendor's teapot pendant and Farhad's sly wink linger in your mind, a glimpse of tea's vibrant Persian trade. You're trudging toward a merchant's into rest, your legs heavy from bazaar bustle, when you overhear a caravan leader by the gate, boasting about tea blends bound for Arab trade hubs, where ports hum with frankincense and gold. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a dried fig for a spot on his camel train, hopping aboard as it lumbers south to the Arabian Peninsula. Welcome to the Arab trade hubs, where tea steams into new markets, and you're about to uncover its arrival in a world of ships and souks. Spoiler, it's livelier than a Subura festival, and surviving a day in this trading world would test your savvy more than a Persian haggle. You step into the port city of Basra around 1280 CE, under the Abbasid Caliphate, where the Tigris River glints under a blazing sun, its docks crowded with dhows unloading saffron, ivory, and tea bricks. The air smells of salt, myrrh, and a faint grassy note from tea bales stacked on the quay. In the souk's a chaotic tapestry, merchants shout in Arabic and Swahili. Sailors haul ropes, and veiled women barter for dates. You're surrounded by traders from Baghdad to Zanzibar, their robes dyed indigo and crimson, and you're wearing a borrowed turban and kaftan, already sticking in the humid heat, your slippers scuffing on sandy stones. You follow a Yemeni merchant, Ismail, to a souk stall where he's unpacking tea bricks Tang stamped but weathered from the journey. You're curious about this tea blend heating up Arab ports, a crossroads where Silk Road goods meet Indian Ocean trade. And you're starting to realize this isn't tea, just commerce, it's TS bold sip into a new world, and you're right in its fragrant fray. You edge into the stall, its canvas awning flapping, the air thick with cardamom, cloves, and the earthy tang of ground tea. Ismail kneels by a brazier, mixing tea powder with mint and sugar in a brass pot, offering you a small glass cup. It steams sweet and sharp. You sip, the mint cutting through the TS bite, a brighter brew than Farhad's spiced blend, and Ismail grins, saying it lifts the soul. You're struck by TS reinvention here. It's not a Mongol stew or Tang froth, but a souk delight, tailored to Arab tastes with herbs and sweets. You overhear a trader haggle over a brick-esque price, boasting it's better than coffee, and it clicks TS competing in a caffeine craze market, carving a niche in bustling ports. You're tempted to ask for another glass, but a shout about a late Dow distracts Ismail, and you focus on the cup, heart racing, wondering how TS steaming into this maritime melting pot. Here's the mainstream history bit. By the 13th century, tea arrived in Arab trade hubs like Basra and aided via Silk Road caravans and Indian Ocean routes, becoming a valued commodity in the Abbasid Caliphate 750-1258 CE and later polities, integrated into markets alongside coffee and spices. You're watching Ismail now, his pot simmering as he adds more mint. Tea bricks, traded from China through Persian and Mongol networks, were ground or boiled with additive sugar, mint, or saffron in Arab souks, appealing to merchants, sailors, and elites. Documented in trade logs and travelogues, like Ibn Battuta's accounts, TS presence grew in ports connecting Asia, Africa, and Europe, where it fueled social gatherings and trade deals. It spread through Arab hubs, a nexus of global commerce, helped pave the way for TS' eventual European adoption. You're thinking about Ismail's glass cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a cultural bridge, and starting to respect any trader who sold this brew without pirates or sour batches stealing their share. You're trying to blend in, But your hesitant sip draws a chuckle from a date vendor who tosses you a sticky date, saying it LL sweeten the TS edge. You chew the sugary fruit, grateful, and notice she S wearing a small copper ring etched with a teacup, perhaps a trader-esque charm. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Arab trade hubs, merchants wore cup rings, copper or silver bands carved with teacups or leaves as tokens of their tea trade, believed to draw honest buyers or guard against spoiled shipments. A custom found in port artifacts, but rarely in written records. You're eyeing the vendor S ring now, wondering if it's luck or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a market emblem, turning sips into symbols in a crowded souk. You're tempted to ask her about it, but Ismail S haggling with an Omani trader over a brick S weight, and you focus on your glass, keeping your wince discreet. You're starting to feel the souk S pulse, a heady mix of trade and talk. You overhear a sailor grumble about a stale brick that cost him a pearl deal, sparking laughs from porters. You catch Ismail S sly grin as he offers the Omani a free sip, and it hits you humor S the market S spice, easing tensions over bad goods or pirate scares, much like the Persia Bazaar S winks or Mongol camp S jests. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spark, their brews fueling both deals and giggles. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was TS adoption in Arab trade hubs driven by its novelty as an exotic import or its integration into existing social rituals? Some argue its rarity carried from distant China made it a luxury, prized by elites for status. Others say its adaptability blended with mint or sugar fit seamlessly into Arab hospitality, spreading through daily use. You're watching Ismail S mini brew, wondering if he is selling prestige or comfort and leaning toward ritual. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a souk S inventory than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this souk, you learn to sip slowly, ignore the Kaftan S sticky heat, and keep your glass steady to avoid spills. You pass the date S pit to a kid selling fish, earning a chatter, and refocus on Ismail, who is teaching you to blend tea light mint. He insists for a fresh kick. You're fumbling, your mix too leafy, but his teasing keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why these trade hubs were TS gateway, not just markets, but crossroads, where China S leaves meet Arab herbs in every fragrant sip. You slip away from the stall, the souk S torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura S glow calling you back. TS Journey S sailing on, but you're hooked on its blended roots. You're back in the village lanes, the souk S glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart S racing, Ismail S glass cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman S grinding spices by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the vendor S ring, Farhad S spices, and all the souls sipping TS traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another market S secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging sailors without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the port S pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping away from Basra S bustling souk, the minty zing of Ismail S tea still dancing on your tongue like a sweet deal sealed in a Subura tavern. Your Kaftan S damp with port humidity, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your leather slippers are scuffed from dodging sailors, a reminder of haggling over tea bricks and sidestepping fish carts. Your pocket S a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of TS spice voyage. The air S cool, laced with myrrh and the Arno S faint echo, and the date vendor S cup ring and Ismail S sly grin linger in your mind, a glimpse of TS Arab trade spark. You're trudging toward a trader S into rest, your legs heavy from souk bustle, when you overhear a Venetian captain by the docks, boasting about exotic tea bound for his city S markets. where merchants crave the East's rarities. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a date pit for passage on his galley, hopping aboard as it sails north to Venice. Welcome to Renaissance Venice, where tea intrigues European merchants, and you're about to see its arrival in a city of canals and commerce. Spoiler, it's glitzier than a Subura festival, and surviving a day in this trading dazzle would test your charm more than an Arab souk. You step onto a Venetian quay, around 1550 CE, where canals shimmer under a golden sun, lined with pastel palazzos and gondolas bobbing like black swans. The air smells of salt, whetstone, and a faint herbal whiff from spice stalls, and the Rialto market hums. Merchants shout in Italian and Greek, fishmongers hawk eels, and women barter for saffron. You're surrounded by traders in velvet caps and silk cloaks. Their voices a mix of Venetian, Ottoman, and Portuguese, dealing in pepper, amber, and those rare tea leaves trickling from the east. You're wearing a borrowed doublet and hose, already chafing in the humid heat, your slippers swapped for clunky boots that slip on slick stones. You follow a Genoese merchant, Marco, to a spice shop where he's unpacking tea loose leaves, not bricks packed in silk pouches from Arab ports. You're curious about this exotic import stirring Venice's elite, a city where East meets West in a swirl of gold and gossip, and you're starting to realize TS, not just a drink, it's a status symbol, and you're right in its opulent wake. You edge into the shop, its shelves stacked with ginger jars and saffron tins, the air thick with cloves, cinnamon, and the grassy tang of tea leaves. Marco stands by a counter, weighing tea on a brass scale, offering a tiny porcelain cup to a Venetian noblewoman, Signora Elena, her velvet gown rustling. You're offered a sip, the cup dainty in your hands, and you taste the brew light, floral, less minty than Ismail's, but sharp enough to jolt you, a far cry from Mongol stews. Elena wrinkles her nose, calling it strange but chic, and Marco grins, pitching tea as the East's elixir. You're struck by tea's reinvention here. It's not a trader-esque fuel or monk-esque ritual, but a luxury for Venice's rich, sipped to flaunt wealth and worldliness. You're tempted to ask for a plain brew, but Elena's servant snaps for more, and you focus on the cup, heart racing, wondering how TS charming this canal-lit city. Here's the mainstream history bit. By the mid-16th century, tea began trickling into Europe via Venetian and Portuguese traders, who imported it from Arab and Asian markets, introducing it as an exotic luxury in cities like Venice during the Renaissance. You're watching Marco now, his scale clinking as he weighs another pouch. Tea, carried through Silk Road and Indian Ocean routes, reached Europe in small quantities, often loose leaves or rare bricks, valued for rarity and supposed medicinal properties, documented in trade logs and early European texts. Like those of Venetian merchant Giovanni Battista Museo, tea was marketed to elites, sipped in tiny cups to display wealth and sophistication. Venice, a trade hub linking East and West, played a key role in tea's European debut, paving the way for its later craze in Holland and Britain. You're thinking about Elena's cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a social flex, and starting to respect any merchant who sold this brew without bankrupting their ship or losing it to pirates. You're trying to blend in, but your clumsy sip draws a smirk from Elena's servant, who tosses you a sugared almond, saying it LL, ease the leaf-s bite. You crunch the sweet nut, grateful, and notice he's wearing a small brass pin shaped like a teacup, perhaps a trader-s mark. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Venetian trade circles, merchants wore tea pins, brass or silver badges shaped as cups or leaves to signal their trade in Eastern rarities, often gifted by guilds to mark successful deals, a custom found in market relics, but rarely in records. You're eyeing the servant's pin now, wondering if it's a badge or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a merchant's boast, turning sips into status in a gilded shop. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Marco's haggling with a Portuguese trader over a pouch's price, and you focus on your cup, keeping your wins discreet. You're starting to feel the shop's pulse, a dazzling mix of greed and glamour. You overhear a merchant grumble about a spoiled pouch that soured a deal with a Doge's cousin, sparking chuckles from porters. You catch Marco's sly wink as he offers the Portuguese a free sip, and it hits you humor-s the market-s shine, smoothing disputes over bad goods or pirate scares, much like the Arab souk-s jests or Mongol camp-s laughs. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spark, their brews fueling both deals and giggles. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was tea's initial appeal in Europe driven by its medicinal claims or its exotic allure? Some argue its touted health benefits digestion, vitality drew elites, marketed as a cure in apothecaries. Others say its rarity, tied to distant Asia, made it a status symbol, sipped for prestige over practicality. You're watching Elena's dainty sip, wondering if she's seeking health or hype and leaning toward allure. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a trade log estate than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of the shop, you learn to sip slowly, ignore the doublet tight pinch, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the almond shell to a kid sweeping the floor, earning a nod, and refocus on Marco, who's teaching you to weigh tea light hands. He insists for a fair scale. You're fumbling, your scoop too heavy, but his teasing keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why Venice was tea's European gateway, not just a market, but a stage, where China's leaves meet Renaissance glitz in every delicate sip. You slip out of the shop, the Rialto's torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura's glow calling you back. Tea's journey steaming on, but you're hooked on its exotic roots. You're back in the village lanes, the shop's glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Marco's porcelain cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a canal where a gondolier's humming by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the servant's pin, Ismail's mint, and all the souls sipping tea's traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another market's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging nobles without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the city's pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're drifting away from Venice's glitzy spice shop, the floral bite of Signora Elena's tea still tickling your tongue like a noble dainty sip in a Subura palazzo. Your doublet chafing under canal dampness, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your clunky boots are slick with Rialto grime, a reminder of dodging gondoliers and balancing porcelain cups. Your pocket's a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's exotic ascent. The air's cool, laced with salt and the Arno's faint echo, and the servant's tea-pin and Marco's sly pitch linger in your mind, a glimpse of tea's Venetian allure. You're trudging toward a merchant's inn to rest, your legs heavy from market dazzle, when you overhear a Dutch captain by the docks, boasting about a tea craze sweeping Holland, where merchants and housewives clamor for Eastern leaves. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark flares up, and you barter an almond shell for passage on his carrack, hopping aboard as it sails north to Amsterdam. Welcome to the Dutch Golden Age, where tea fuels a national obsession, and you're about to dive into its early craze. Spoiler, it's buzzier than a Subura market, and surviving a day in this tea-mad scene would test your hustle more than a Venetian deal. You step onto an Amsterdam dock, around 1610 CE, where canals gleam under a gray sky, lined with gabled houses and ships unloading cloves, nutmeg, and tea pouches. The air smells of briny water, fresh herring, and a faint grassy whiff from tea crates stacked on the quay, and the city's a whirlwind merchants shout in Dutch and French. Sailors haul ropes, and women barter for tulips. You're surrounded by traders in black cloaks and starch collars. Their voice is a mix of Amsterdammer and Portuguese, dealing in spices, silks, and those tea leaves now trickling from Asia via Arab and Venetian routes. You're wearing a borrowed wool coat and breeches, already damp in the drizzle, your boots squelching on cobbled streets as you follow a Dutch merchant, Peter, to a trading house near the Dam Square. You're curious about this tea craze gripping Holland, a maritime powerhouse where Eastern goods spark wealth and wonder, and you're starting to realize TS not just a drink, it's a Dutch mania, and you're right in its frothy heart. You edge into the trading house, its oak-paneled walls hung with maps and spice jars, the air thick with tobacco, cinnamon, and the earthy tang of loose tea leaves. Peter stands by a counter, weighing tea on a silver scale, offering a delicate china cup to a merchantess wife, Vrouw Anna, her lace cap bobbing as she sniffs the brew. You're offered a sip, the cup fragile in your hands, and you taste the tea light, slightly bitter, closer to Marco's floral brew but served hot and plain, a nod to its medicinal hype. Anna purses her lips, calling it odd but healthful, and Peter beams, pitching tea as Asia as tonic for vigor. You're struck by TS role here, not a Persian spice blend or Japanese ritual, but a pricey cure-all, sipped by burghers to flaunt wealth and wellness. You're tempted to ask for sugar, but Anna's servant glares, and you focus on the cup, heart racing, wondering how TS brewing this Dutch frenzy. Here's the mainstream history bit. In the early 17th century, during the Dutch Golden Age, tea became a fashionable import in the Netherlands, introduced by the Dutch East India Company VOC from Asian markets, sparking a craze among elites and merchants by the 1610s. You're watching Peter now, his scale clinking as he weighs another pouch. The VOC, a global trade giant, shipped tea mostly loose leaves from China and Japan via Batavia, Jakarta, marketing it as a medicinal and exotic luxury. Documented in trade records and early cookbooks, tea was sold in apothecaries and drunk in small cups, often plain or with milk, valued for supposed health benefits like digestion and alertness. Holland's wealth and maritime networks made it Europe's tea pioneer, spreading the craze to England and beyond. You're thinking about Anna's cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a status badge, and starting to respect any merchant who traded this brew without shipwrecks or scurvy stealing their stock. You're trying to blend in, but your shaky sip draws a smirk from Anna's servant, who tosses you a ginger biscuit, saying it LL soothe the leaf-s sting. You crunch the spicy treat, grateful, and notice he's wearing a small pewter charm shaped like a teapot, pinned to his coat, perhaps a guild token. That's when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Dutch trading houses, merchants and servants wore teapot charms, pewter or silver pendants shaped as pots or cups as marks of their tea trade, often awarded by the VOC to loyal agents or swapped in deals, a custom found in guild relics, but rarely in journals. You're eyeing the servant's charm now, wondering if it's a prize or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a Dutch boast, turning sips into symbols in a burger-s hall. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Peter's haggling with a French trader over a pouch-s price, and you focus on your cup, keeping your wince discreet. You're starting to feel the trading house-s pulse, a heady mix of ambition and allure. You overhear a merchant grumble about a damp pouch that's soured a deal with a burgomaster, sparking chuckles from clerks. You catch Peter's sly wink as he offers the Frenchman a free sip, and it hits you humor-s the market-s grease, smoothing disputes over spoiled goods or pirate raids, much like the Arab souk-s jests or Persian bazaar-s winks. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spark, their brews fueling both deals and giggles. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was the Dutch tea craze driven by its commercial profitability or its cultural novelty? Some argue the VOC's trade networks and high prices made tea a lucrative commodity, fueling its spread for profit. Others say its exotic appeal and health claims captivated Dutch society, turning it into a cultural fad beyond mere commerce. You're watching Anna as Prim's sip, wondering if she is chasing cure or cachet, and leaning toward novelty. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a VOC ledger S math than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this trading house, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore the breeches tight fit, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the biscuit as crumbs to a clerk as apprentice, earning a nod, and refocus on Peter, who is teaching you to weigh tea gentle scoops. He insists for an honest deal. You're fumbling, your scoop too full, but his teasing keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why Holland was TS European crucible, not just a market, but a mania, where China leaves meet Dutch wealth in every steaming sip. You slip out of the trading house, the dam torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura glow calling you back. TS journey brewing on, but you're hooked on its frenzied roots. You're back in the village lanes, the trading house glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart racing, Peter China cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a canal where a boatman humming by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the servant charm, Marco pouches, and all the souls sipping tea traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another market secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging burgers without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the city pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping out of Amsterdam's bustling trading house, the light bitterness of Peter's tea still warming your throat like a cozy chat in a Subura inn. Your wool coat damp from canal mist, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your boots squelched with damn square mud, a reminder of dodging burgers and balancing china cups. Your pocket a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of TS frenzied rise. The air cool, laced with herring and the Arno's faint echo, and the servant's teapot charm and Peter's sly pitch linger in your mind, a glimpse of Holland tea obsession. You're trudging toward a dockside into rest, your legs heavy from market mania, when you overhear an English sailor by the quay, boasting about tea fever gripping Britain, where lords and ladies clamor for the Dutch brew. Your time, traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a ginger biscuit crumb for passage on his sloop, hopping aboard as it sails across the North Sea to London. Welcome to Restoration Britain, where tea ignites a national love affair, and you're about to explore its mad craze. Spoiler, it's wilder than a Subura festival, and surviving a day in this tea-soaked scene would test your poise more than a Dutch deal. You step onto a London dock around 1660 CE, where the Thames churns under a smoky sky, lined with wharves unloading sugar, tobacco, and tea pouches from Dutch ships. The air smells of tar, wet wood, and a faint grassy whiff from tea crates stacked on the quay. In the city, a riot merchants shout in English and Spanish, dockers haul barrels, and women barter for oysters. You're surrounded by traders in wool coats and tricorn hats, their voices a mix of Cockney and Portuguese, dealing in spices, silks, and those tea leaves now flooding from Holland and Asia. You're wearing a borrowed frock coat and breeches, already itching in the damp chill, your boots slipping on slimy cobbles as you follow a merchant, Thomas, to a coffee house near Covent Garden. You're curious about this tea mania sweeping Britain, a rising empire where Eastern brews spark wealth and wonder, and you're starting to realize TS, not just a drink, it's a British passion, and you're right in its steaming heart. You edge into the coffee house, its low beams hung with tobacco pipes, the air thick with coffee, rum, and the earthy tang of loose tea leaves. Thomas sits at a table, weighing tea on a tin scale, offering a delicate porcelain cup to a lady, Mistress Jane, her velvet cloak rustling as she sniffs the brew. You're offered a sip, the cup dainty in your hands, and you taste the tea hot, slightly bitter, Served plain like Peter S., but with a richer depth, a nod to its growing popularity. Jane sighs, calling it divine for the nerves, and Thomas beams, pitching tea as China's cure for melancholy. You're struck by T.S. role here, not a Venetian luxury or Arab blend, but a social elixir, sipped by gentry and middling folk to flaunt refinement and soothe ailments. You're tempted to ask for milk, but Jane S. May glares, and you focus on the cup, heart racing, wondering how T.S. brewing this British frenzy. Here's the mainstream history bit. In the mid-17th century, during Britain's Restoration era, tea became a cultural phenomenon, introduced via Dutch trade and popularized by the court of Charles II, sparking a mania across classes by the 1660s. You're watching Thomas now, his scale clinking as he weighs another pouch. Tea, imported by the English East India Company from China via Dutch intermediaries, was initially a costly luxury, marketed for health, digestion, alertness, and sophistication. Documented in diaries like Samuel Pepys and royal accounts, tea gained fame after Catherine of Braganza, Charles II's queen, made it fashionable at court. Coffee houses and homes adopted it, served in porcelain with sugar or milk, spreading from elites to merchants and artisans. Britain's trade networks and colonial ambitions fueled tea's rise, setting the stage for its imperial dominance. You're thinking about Jane's cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a social badge, and starting to respect any trader who shipped this brew without storms or smugglers stealing their stock. You're trying to blend in, but your awkward sip draws a chuckle from Jane S. Maid, who tosses you a candied orange peel, saying it LL brighten the leaf S bite. You chew the zesty treat, grateful, and notice she's wearing a small silver locket shaped like a teapot, perhaps a household token. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some 17th century British coffee houses, patrons and servants wore teapot lockets, silver or pewter pendants shaped as pots or cups as tokens of tea's prestige, often gifted by merchants to loyal customers or swapped in social circles. A custom found in estate inventories, but rarely in texts. You're eyeing the maid's locket now, wondering if it's a gift or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a British boast, turning sips into symbols in a smoky hall. You're tempted to ask her about it, but Thomas is haggling with a Bristol trader over a pouch-esque price, and you focus on your cup, keeping your wince discreet. You're starting to feel the coffee house's pulse, a heady mix of gossip and gain. You overhear a merchant grumble about a rotten pouch that soured a deal with a lord, sparking laughs from clerks. You catch Thomas's sly wink as he offers the Bristol man a free sip, and it hits you humorous the market spark, easing disputes over spoiled goods or pirate raids, much like the Venetian shop's jests or Arab souk's giggles. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spirit, their brews fueling both deals and chuckles. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was Britain's tea mania driven by royal influence or broader social trends? Some argue Catherine's court set the trend, with elites mimicking her tea sipping to curry favor or flaunt status. Others say merchants and middling classes, fueled by trade and coffeehouse culture, spread tea's popularity, making it a social staple beyond royal whim. You're watching Jane's poised sip, wondering if she's aping the queen or just trendy and leaning toward trends. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They'd rather argue over Pepys' diary entry than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this coffee house, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore the code's will itch, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the orange peel-s rind to an apprentice, earning a nod, and refocus on Thomas, who's teaching you to measure tea spar scoops. He insists to stretch the leaves. You're fumbling, your scoop too heaped, but his teasing keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why Britain was tea's crucible, not just a market, but a mania, where China's leaves meet English zeal in every steaming sip. You slip out of the coffee house, Covent Garden's torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura-esque glow calling you back. TS journey S brewing on, but you're hooked on its fevered roots. You're back in the village lanes, the coffee house S glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart S racing, Thomas S porcelain cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a Thames wharf, where a docker S humming by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the maid S locket, Peter S scale, and all the souls sipping tea S traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another market S secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging gentry without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room. The city S pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping out of London S smoky coffee house, the rich warmth of Mistress Jane S tea still lingering on your palate like a posh toast in a Subura tavern. Your frock coat S damp with Thames fog, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your boots are caked with Covent Garden mud, a reminder of dodging gentry and balancing porcelain cups. Your pocket S a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea S fevered rise. The air S cool, laced with tar, and the Arno S faint echo, and the maid S teapot locket and Thomas S sly pitch linger in your mind. A glimpse of Britain S tea mania. You're trudging toward a dockside into rest, your legs heavy from coffee house chatter, when you overhear a colonial merchant by the wharf grumbling about tea troubles in Boston, where colonists are clashing over taxes and brews. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter an orange peel rind for passage on his brig, hopping aboard as it sails across the Atlantic to the American colonies. Welcome to colonial America, where tea sparks fiery disputes, and you're about to witness its role in rebellion. Spoiler, it's stormier than a Subura brawl, and surviving a day in this tea-fueled tension would test your nerve more than a British high tea. You step onto a Boston dock, around 1773 CE, where the harbor churns under a slate-gray sky, lined with warehouses unloading molasses, rum, and tea crates from British ships. The air smells of salt, pitch, and a sharp grassy whiff from tea chests stacked on the quay, and the town S a powder keg merchants shout in English and Dutch, dockers haul barrels, and women barter for cod. You're surrounded by colonists in homespun coats and tricorn hats, their voices a mix of Bostonian and Irish, arguing over taxes, tariffs, and those tea leaves now flooding from the East India Company. You're wearing a borrowed linen shirt and breeches, already damp in the harbor chill, your boots slipping on wet planks as you follow a tavern keeper, Samuel, to a meeting hall near Faneuil Hall. You're curious about this tea trouble stirring the colonies, a brewing revolt where a simple drink fuels defiance, and you're starting to realize tea-s not just a beverage, it's a spark for rebellion, and you're right in its volatile heart. You edge into the hall, its wooden beams hung with lanterns, the air thick with tobacco, sweat, and the faint tang of tea from a smuggled crate. Samuel stands by a table, passing a pewter mug of tea to a merchant, Master John, his waistcoat stained from dock work. You're offered a sip, the mug heavy in your hands, and you taste the tea strong, bitter, brewed from loose leaves, a far cry from Jane S. dainty cups, but steeped with gritty purpose. John grimaces, calling it tax poison, and Samuel nods, muttering about the Tea Act, a British tax that got colonists fuming. You're struck by T.S. role here, not a Dutch luxury or Arab blend, but a symbol of defiance, sipped to rally rebels or dumped to protest crowns. You overhear a dock worker whisper about a tea party planned at the harbor, and it clicks this ISNT, just a drink, it's a fuse for revolution. You're tempted to ask about the plan, but a patriot-esque glare keeps you quiet, and you focus on the mug, heart racing, wondering how T.S. igniting this colonial fire. Here S the mainstream history bit. In the 18th century, tea became a flashpoint in Britain's American colonies, particularly during the 1760s, 1770s, culminating in the Boston Tea Party of 1773, where colonists protested British taxes, fueling the American Revolution. You're watching Samuel now, his mug clinking as he pours another round. The British East India Company, granted a tea monopoly, flooded colonies with cheap tea taxed under acts like the Tea Act, angering colonists who saw it as taxation without representation. Documented in letters, pamphlets, and diaries, tea was boycotted, smuggled, or destroyed, with the Boston Tea Party colonists dumping 342 tea chests into the harbor, marking a pivotal act of defiance. Tea's ubiquity, consumed by all classes, made it a powerful symbol, rallying patriots against British rule. You're thinking about John S. Bitter's sip, realizing it's not just tea, but a call to arms, and starting to respect any colonist who protested without drowning or getting arrested. You're trying to blend in, but your shaky sip draws a chuckle from John S. Apprentice, who tosses you a cornmeal biscuit, saying it LL dull the TS edge. You crunch the gritty bread, grateful, and notice he's wearing a small tin badge shaped like a tea chest pinned to his vest, perhaps a Patriot S mark. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some colonial protest circles, patriots wore tea chest badges tin or with pins shaped as crates to signal their defiance of British tea taxes, often handed out at rallies or smuggled meetings, a custom found in revolutionary artifacts, but rarely in records. You're eyeing the Apprentice S badge now, wondering if it's a rebel code or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a protest emblem, turning sips into statements in a tense hall. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Samuel S. whispering with a sailor about night plans, and you focus on your mug, keeping your cough discreet. You're starting to feel the hall S weight, a charged mix of anger and action. You overhear a merchant grumble about a tax shipment that sparked a boycott, drawing cheers from dockers. You catch Samuel S. sharp nod as he passes the sailor a coded note, and it hits you humor S. scarce here, replaced by resolve, unlike the Dutch coffeehouse S. jests or Arab souk S. giggles. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these colonists trade laughs for rebellion, their tea fueling both defiance and danger. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was TS' role in colonial disputes primarily symbolic or economic in driving rebellion? Some argue its symbolic power as a taxed British good united colonists, making it a rallying cry for liberty. Others say economic grievances, taxes, monopolies drove the protests, with tea as a convenient target for broader trade issues. You're watching John S. clenched fist, wondering if he's fighting for freedom or fair trade, and leaning towards symbolic. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a pamphlet as print date than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this haul, sort of. You learn to sip quietly, ignore the breeches' damp cling, and keep your mug steady to avoid spills. You pass the biscuit S crumbs to a kid sweeping the floor, earning a nod, and refocus on Samuel, who is teaching you to pour tea quick hands. He insists to save leaves. You're fumbling, your pour too splashy, but his gruff encouragement keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why colonial tea was a tinderbox, not just a drink, but a spark, igniting Britain's colonies in every bitter sip. You slip out of the hall, Faniel's torchlight fading, and breathe, the Subura's glow calling you back. TS journey's raging on, but you're hooked on its rebellious roots. You're back in the village lanes, the hall's glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Samuel's pewter mug etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a wharf where a docker's muttering by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the Apprentice-S badge, Thomas-S pitch, and all the souls sipping tea-S traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another protest-S secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging patriots without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the harbor's pulse steady under the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're slipping away from Boston's tense meeting hall, the bitter sting of Samuel's rebel tea still burning your throat like a defiant toast in a Subura tavern. Your linen shirt damp with harbor mist, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your boots are slick with wharf slime, a reminder of dodging patriots and balancing pewter mugs. Your pocket a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of T.'s rebellious spark. The air cool, laced with pitch and the Arno's faint echo, and the apprentice's T-chest badge and Samuel's coded whispers linger in your mind, a glimpse of T.'s colonial fire. You're trudging toward a dockside inn to rest, your legs heavy from protest fervor, when you overhear a Russian sailor by the quay, boasting about tea caravans trudging to Moscow, where boyars and peasants guzzle brews by the fire. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you barter a cornmeal biscuit crumb for passage on his bark, hopping aboard as it sails north to the Baltic, bound for Russia. Welcome to the Russian Empire, where tea treks through snowy steppes, and you're about to follow its rugged path. Spoiler, it's chillier than a Subura winter, and surviving a day in this caravan grind would test your endurance more than a Boston revolt. You step onto a frozen steppe near the Russian border, around 1680 CE, where snow blankets endless plains under a steel gray sky, dotted with fur tents and sleds piled with furs. The air smells of frost, smoked fish, and a smoky, grassy whiff from tea bricks brewing over campfires, and the caravan's rugged-lined traders in fur hats, herders driving oxen, and Cossack guard with sabers scanning for wolves or raiders. You're surrounded by Russians, Mongols, and Chinese, their voices a mix of Slavic, Tatar, and Mandarin, bartering over pelts, amber, and those tea bricks hauled from China's border. You're wearing a borrowed sheepskin coat and felt boots, already stiff in the biting cold, your slippers stashed as you grip a sled rope, dodging a stray dog gnawing a bone. You're curious about this tea trade warming Russia's icy heart, a land where Mongol routes and Chinese goods meet Slavic grit, and you're starting to realize tea's not just a drink, it's a lifeline, and you're right in its frosty trail. You join a trader, Ivan, at a campfire, its embers glowing against the snow, the air thick with wood smoke, and the earthy tang of tea boiled in a blackened samovar. Ivan crumbles a tea brick into the pot, adding salt and a splash of mare's milk, offering you a tin cup, its heat a balm in the frigid air. You sip, wincing at the smoky, salty brew thicker than Alton's Mongol mix, like a soup meant to thaw bones. Ivan chuckles, saying it beats the cold, and you're struck by tea's role here, not a British status sip or Arab spice blend, but a survival brew, fueling traders and herders through Russia's endless winters. You overhear a Cossack grumble about a short brick that cost him a fur deal, and it clicks tea's a currency in this frozen trade, binding camps and courts. You're tempted to ask for a plain brew, but Ivan's refilling your cup, and you focus on swallowing, heart racing, wondering how tea's trudging through this snowy empire. Here's the mainstream history bit. By the late 17th century, tea reached Russia via Mongol and Chinese caravans, becoming a staple in the Russian Empire 1547-1917 through overland trade routes from China, particularly after the 1689 Treaty of Nerchinsk opened direct trade. You're watching Ivan now, his samovar hissing as he adds more tea. Tea bricks, transported from China's northern borders via the Siberian Tea Road, were traded for furs and horses, valued for warmth and energy in Russia's harsh climate. Documented in trade records and travelogues, like those of Russian envoys to Beijing, tea was boiled with milk, salt, or butter, consumed by nobles, merchants, and peasants in samovars, a metal urn that became iconic. Russia's vast trade networks and cultural exchanges with Asia cemented tea's role, making it a national drink by the 18th century. You're thinking about Ivan's tin cup, realizing it's not just a drink, but a survival tool, and starting to respect any trader who hauled this brew through blizzards without losing their fingers or their stock. You're trying to blend in, but your shudder at the salty tea draws a grin from a herder who tosses you a chunk of rye bread, saying at LL, soak the brew bite. You chew the dense loaf, grateful, and notice he wearing a small wooden pendant shaped like a samovar, tied to his belt, perhaps a trader's charm. That when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some Russian caravan camps, traders and herders carried samovar pendants, wood or bone charms shaped as tea urns to honor the drink's warmth. Believed to protect against frostbite or ensure safe trades. A custom found in steppe artifacts, but rarely in chronicles. You're eyeing the herder's pendant now, wondering if it's luck or just flair, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a Russian talisman, turning sips into symbols in a snowy camp. You're tempted to ask him about it, but Ivan's haggling with a Chinese trader over a brick's weight, and you focus on your cup, keeping your shiver discreet. You're starting to feel the camp's rhythm, a gritty blend of survival and swagger. You overhear a merchant complain about a cracked brick that soured a deal in Novgorod, sparking chuckles from Cossacks. You catch Ivan's sly nod as he shares a tale of outwitting a bandit over tea, and it hits you humor the campfire's glow, thawing the steppe's chill, much like the Bastahal's resolve or Arab souk's jests. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these traders share the same spark, their brews fueling both trades and tales. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Was tea's spread in Russia driven by its practical utility or its cultural integration with Mongol trade? Some argue its warmth and nutrition made it essential for surviving Russia's winters, adopted for daily survival. Others say its role in Mongol trade networks as a high-value commodity drove its spread with cultural blending as a byproduct. You're watching Ivan's samovar steam, wondering if he's brewing for heat or honor and leaning toward utility. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a caravan's manifest than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this camp, sort of. You learn to sip slowly, ignore the code's for itch, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the bread crust to a kid herding sheep, earning a nod, and refocus on Ivan, who's teaching you to chip tea bricks thin flakes, he insists, for a rich boil. You're fumbling, your chips too chunky, but his gruff laugh keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why Russian caravans were tea's lifeline, not just trade routes, but lifelines, where China's leaves meet Slavic soul in every smoky sip. You slip away from the campfire, the steppe's glow fading, and breathe, the Subura's torchlight calling you back. Tea's journey's marching on, but you're hooked on its frosty roots. You're back in the village lanes, the camp's glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Ivan's tin cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman's mending a shawl by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about the herder's pendant, Samuel's badge, and all the souls sipping tea's traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another trek's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging snow without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the step's pulse steady into the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're trudging away from the Russian steppe's frosty campfire, the smoky warmth of Ivan's samovar tea still thawing your bones like a hearty hug in a Subura inn. Your sheepskin coat stiff with snow, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your felt boots are soggy with camp mud, a reminder of dodging Cossacks and chipping tea bricks. Your pocket a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's rugged trek. The air's crisp, laced with frost, and the Arno's faint echo, and the herder's samovar pendant and Ivan's sly bandit tail linger in your mind, a glimpse of tea's Russian grit. You're aiming for a trader's tent to rest, your legs heavy from caravan trudges, when you pause by a frozen stream, its ice glinting under starlight, and hear distant voices, English, Moroccan, Indian, whispering of tea customs across the globe. Your time traveler curiosity, that relentless spark, flares up, and you decide to weave through these far-flung lands, ready to see tea's diverse global traditions emerge. Spoiler, it's richer than a Subura feast, and surviving a day in this tea-soaked tapestry would test your taste buds more than a Mongol brew. You find yourself in a bustling Moroccan souk around 1850 CE, where narrow alleys pulse with spice stalls and brass lanterns, the air thick with cumin, mint, and the sweet tang of tea brewed in silver pots. You're wearing a borrowed jalaba, its hood shielding you from the sun, your boots swapped for sandals that scuff on sandy stones. You follow a merchant, Hassan, to a carpeted tea shop where he pours mint tea from a gleaming teapot, the stream arcing high into tiny glass cups. You sip, the sugary mint a refreshing jolt, worlds apart from Ivan's salty sludge, and Hassan grins, calling a hospitality's heart. You're struck by Morocco's tea, ritual poured high for froth, served thrice to honor guests, a custom blending Arab mint with Chinese leaves. You overhear a trader boast about a deal sealed over tea, and it hits you tea's not just a drink here, it's a bond, knitting souks and homes in every sweet pour. You shift scenes, landing in a British drawing room in 1800, its wallpaper floral and fire crackling, the air soft with lavender and the grassy scent of black tea in a silver urn. You're in a borrowed waistcoat, itching in the starched collar, as a hostess, Lady Charlotte, serves tea in bone china cups, paired with scones and clotted cream. You sip, the tea robust and malty, smoothed with milk, a stark contrast to Morocco's minty zing. Charlotte chats about tea time, a daily rite uniting gentry and clerks, and you're struck by Britain's obsession. Tea's now a social glue, sipped at 4 p.m. to bridge class and gossip. You overhear a maid whisper about a tea tax, still grumbling colonists, tying back to Boston's revolt, and realize tea's not just comfort, it's a cultural cornerstone, steeped in empire and etiquette. You leap to an Indian tea garden in Assam, 1870, where misty hills hum with workers plucking leaves, the air heavy with damp earth and tea's green bite. You're in a cotton corda, sweating as you follow a planter, Rajesh, to a veranda where he brews Darjeeling in a clay pot. You sip, the tea floral and bright, unlike Britain's heavy blends, and Rajesh sighs, noting British demand fuels these estates, yet locals savor chai with spices. You're struck by India's dual tea world exported for London's cups, spiced with cardamom for village stalls, a fusion of colonial cash and desi soul. You overhear a worker hum about a tea strike over wages, and it clicks tea's not just a crop, it's a battleground, tying labor to global trade. Here's the mainstream history bit. By the 18th and 19th centuries, tea evolved into diverse global traditions, shaped by local cultures and colonial trade, becoming a universal drink across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. You're savoring Rajesh's Darjeeling now, its clay pot steaming like a Subura hearth. In Morocco, mint tea, introduced via trade routes, became a hospitality ritual by the 18th century, documented in travelogues. In Britain, tea time, popularized post-1700s, unified social classes, with black tea from China and India dominating, per diaries and trade records. In India, British-run plantations from the 1830s supplied global markets, but local chai emerged, blending tea with spices, as noted in colonial accounts. These traditions, from samovars to souks, cemented tea's global role, driven by trade, empire, and adaptation. You're thinking about Hassan's high pour, realizing it's not just tea but a cultural thread, and starting to respect anyone who brewed it without scalding their hands or their pride. You're back in Morocco's souk, munching a sesame seed from Hassan's tray, when you notice a vendor's brass tray etched with a teapot design, perhaps a market mark. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some 19th century Moroccan souks, Traders use tea etchings etch designs on trays or pots, often teapots or cups to brand their TS quality, believed to draw loyal patrons or bless the brew. A custom found in market relics, but rarely in texts. You're eyeing the tray now, wondering if it's a seal or just art, and it's a quirky peek into how tea became a cultural badge, turning pours into pride across global traditions. You're tempted to ask Hassan about it, but he is serving another round, and you focus on your glass, keeping your sip steady. You're starting to feel the world's tea pulse, a vibrant weave of customs, from Morocco's mint to India's chai. You overhear a British trader in Assam grumble about a weak harvest that soured a London deal, echoing Samuel's tax woes, and catch a Moroccan vendor's laugh over a spilled cup, lightening the souk's hustle. It hits you humor threads these traditions, easing trade's strain or empire's grip, much like the Russian camp's jests or Boston's resolve. You think of the Tang juggler, nearly toppling a monk, and realize these tea drinkers share a spark, their brews fueling both ritual and resilience. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Did tea's global traditions emerge from colonial imposition or local innovation? Some argue European empires British, Dutch imposed tea spread, shaping markets and manners for profit. Others claim local cultures Moroccan, Indian innovated, adapting tea to fit hospitality or daily life, creating unique traditions. You're watching Charlotte's scones, wondering if they're Empire's echo or England's heart, and leaning toward innovation. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They rather argue over a plantation's log than admit it's both. You're getting the hang of this global swirl, sort of. You learn to sip slowly across souks and salons. Ignore the kurda's sweat or waistcoat's starch, and keep your cup steady to avoid spills. You pass the sesame seed to a souk kid, earning a grin, and refocus on Hassan, who is teaching you to pour high steady arc. He insists for perfect froth. You're fumbling, your stream too low, but his laugh keeps you grounded, heart racing. You're starting to see why tea's global traditions are so diverse, not just drinks, but mirrors, reflecting cultures in every fragrant sip. You slip away from the souk, the veranda's glow fading, and breathe, the Subura's torchlight calling you back. Tea's journey's blooming, but you're hooked on its varied roots. You're back in the village lanes, the souk's glow fading, the stars bright above the thatched roofs. Your heart's racing, Hassan's glass cup etched in your mind, the amulet and charcoal stick heavy in your pocket. You pass a hut where a woman's grinding spices by candlelight, and you're tempted to linger, but your legs ache. You're thinking about Charlotte's scones, Rajesh's chai, and all the souls sipping tea's traded brews. You're not sure how you'll survive another day here, let alone another tradition's secrets, but you're tougher than you thought, dodging empires without spilling tea or your cover. You head toward your rented room, the world's pulse steady into the night, ready for the next chapter in this tea-soaked tale, eager to unravel more of its tangled leaves. You're drifting away from the vibrant swirl of Morocco's souk and India's South misty tea gardens, the sweet mint of Hassan's high pour, and the spicy warmth of Rajesh's chai still lingering on your lips like a fond farewell from a Subura feast. Your cotton shirt's worn from global treks, smudged with ochre from Tang teahouses, and your sandals are scuffed with the dust of 1,000 markets, a reminder of dodging traders and balancing countless cups. Your pocket's a bulging hoard clay hand amulet, charcoal stick, paint-stained rags, each a relic of tea's sprawling journey. The air's cool, laced with starlight and the Arno's faint ripple, and Lady Charlotte's scones and the Moroccan vendor's etched tray linger in your mind, a tapestry of tea's diverse traditions. You're settling on a worn bench by the Subura's village green, its grass soft underfoot, ready to reflect on tea's enduring global legacy, a story that binds empires, rebels, and dreamers in a single sip. Spoiler: it's deeper than a Subura well, And you're about to learn why TS lasting sip still captivates us like a bard-esque timeless tale. You lean back, the bench creaking under you, the village asleep under a starry sky, its thatched roofs glowing faintly in the moonlight. You've sipped your way through TS Odyssey, May's bitter leaves in China's misty hills, Ryokan's matcha in Japan's serene tea house, Alton's smoky brew on Mongol steppes, and Samuel's rebel mug in Boston's fiery hall. Each cup from Farhad's cardamom in Persia to Jane's porcelain in London tells a story of trade, ritual, and defiance, weaving a global web that spans centuries. You're struck by TS staying power, how it's more than a drink, it's a thread, tying Tang poets to Moroccan hosts, Russian herders to Indian planters, in a shared act of brewing and being. You think of the Tang juggler's oranges, Ivan's bandit quip, and the Boston dockworker's coded nod, and realize TS legacy isn't just its leaves, but its laughter, the human spark that softens life's grind. You're starting to see why tea endures. It's not just flavor, it's connection. A sip that outlasts empires and oceans, and you're ready to unpack its timeless pull. You shift, the amulet heavy in your pocket, and picture the world's team moments. Hassan's high pour in a crowded souk, Charlotte's scones at a crackling hearth, Rajesh's chai under Assam's misty dawn. These aren't tea, just rituals, they're echoes, resonating in today as coffee shops, tea stalls, and kitchen mugs, where we still gather, gossip, and sip. You're holding the charcoal stick, its tip blunt from sketching your journey, and you're struck by tea's quiet power, how it shaped wars, sparked revolutions, and soothed souls, from Shinong's legend to Starbucks cues. You think of modern tea matcha lattes, iced chai, boba pearls, and see the same Subura spirit, where a drink becomes a story, shared over laughter or protest. You're starting to feel tea's weight, not just its taste, but its permanence, a legacy that warms us still, from ancient hills to urban sprawls. Here's the mainstream history bit, tea's global legacy, spanning from its Chinese origins in the 3rd century BCE to its worldwide dominance by the 19th century, is a cultural and economic force, shaping trade, societies, and traditions across continents, enduring into the modern era. You're tracing the stick's grain now, thinking of tea's reach. Originating in China, tea spread via Silk Roads, Mongol caravans, and European empires, becoming a staple in Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, as documented in trade records, diaries, and colonial logs. It drove economies, British plantations. Dutch VOC profits sparked conflicts like the Boston Tea Party and birthed rituals from Japanese shinoyu to British tea time. Today, tea's the world's most consumed beverage after water, per global trade data, sipped in countless forms, from Moroccan mint to Indian masala, uniting cultures in shared brews. You're picturing Hassan's glass, realizing it's not just tea but a global bond, and starting to respect every soul who brewed it without scalding their dreams or their hands. You're mulling this over when you recall a moment in the Moroccan souk, a vendor's chuckle over a spilled cup, mirrored in Charlotte's giggle at a scone crumb, both echoing Ivan's bandit tale. That S when you hit our obscure trivia for the night. In some 19th century tea cultures, traders and hosts used tea tokens, small clay or metal discs etched with leaves or cups, as informal currency in markets or gifts at gatherings, believed to bless the brew or seal friendships, a custom found in trade relics but rarely in texts. You're picturing Hassan's tray now, wondering if a token hid in his pouch, and it's a quirky glimpse into how tea's legacy was marked, a sip made tangible across borders. It's a clever trick, but it shows how tea's story was shared, waiting for modern mugs to carry it on. You're tempted to sketch a token, but your stick's spent, and the Subura's dawn pulls you back. You're starting to feel tea's depth, not just its flavor, but its permanence, like a song sung through time. You think of May's leaves, Samuel's mug, and all the hands that brewed tea's story, monks, rebels, traders, dreamers. These sips weren't just for their day, They were for us, whispering connection through teapots, samovars, and chai stalls from Tang hills to today's cafes. This brings us to something historians are still debating. Does tea's enduring legacy stem from its economic impact or its cultural universality? Some argue its trade empires. Plantations drove its global reach, shaping economies and power. Others claim its universal appeal, ritual, comfort, community made it timeless, a drink for all peoples, not just prophets. You're holding the amulet. It's clay a link to May's Valley and leaning toward universality. But good luck getting scholars to agree. They'd rather argue over a trade route map than admit it's both. You stand, stretching your aching legs, and step toward the green. Its dew sparkling under dawn's gray light. You're thinking of Alton's samovar, Elena's porcelain, and all the cups that warmed a world's hands. You've sipped through a journey barely from valleys to revolts, each brew a testament to tea's grit and grace. You're not sure how it outlasted empires or sparked rebellions, but you're tougher than you thought, carrying its story in your weary heart and muddy boots. You're ready to leave this Subura, but for now, you linger, the village's pulse syncing with yours, tea's legacy a quiet hum under the stars. You're standing by the green, the Subura's dawn soft as a whisper, its dew glinting like scattered stars. The Arno hums, a lullaby older than empires, carrying away tea's tales May's leaves, Ryokan's matcha, Samuel's rebellion. Your amulet rests heavy in your hand, a small anchor to a world that sips still, its clay worn smooth by timeless brews. The village sleeps, its thatch warm, and you feel tea's warmth, gentle as moonlight, blending into dreams where souks hum and samovars steam. Your breath slows, matching the green's quiet pulse, and you imagine drifting on the Arno, a reed boat rocking you toward sleep. Let tea hold you, its legacy soft as mist, its stories warm as dusk. Sleep now, carried by a sip that endures, gentle as a sigh, eternal as the night.